And finally, new rule, if you believe in the philosophy of equality of outcomes, then you really shouldn't have watched the Grammys last Sunday. Because the Grammys, aside from the usual award show virtue signaling, are still largely about the idea that certain people do music better than others, and it's okay to reward them for it. That's called meritocracy, and it's the opposite of guaranteed outcomes. Equality of outcomes, as opposed to equality of opportunity. We used to call that by another name, trophy syndrome. A world that was... A world that was created back in the 90s where every kid gets a trophy, no matter how good or bad they are at something. Well, the result of that kind of thinking is that American kids now have a totally deluded and unearned belief in their charm, brains, and talent. It's not only that the entire generation wants to be famous, it's that they think not being famous isn't fair. If you think I'm exaggerating, let me quote from this article in Rolling Stone magazine last year, lamenting how streaming has not given us equality of outcomes in the music industry. Oh, the Grammys would look quite different if we followed this template. The article tells us that more than 1.6 million artists released songs between January 2019 and July 2020. 40,000 tracks a day on Spotify. And yet, Rolling Stone complains, today's streaming landscape looks a lot like the music industry used to. A small class of artists see not just the majority of activity, but damn near all of it. Yes, these are called the good ones. I mean, yes, of course, an occasional big talent can fall through the cracks, but in general, it's simply a case that most people who try their hand at music write the songs that don't make the whole world sing. Rolling Stone complains that, quote, nearly all the streams went to artists in the top 10%, with the bottom 90% pulling in just 0.6% of streams. Whoa, let me get this straight. Talented artists people like are listened to more than untalented ones they don't? Stop the presses. Yes, that's meritocracy. If people don't like your song, your mommy can't make them listen to it. You know... You know why 99% of artists aren't getting heard? Because music is hard and most people suck at it. For more details, Google reality. Rolling Stone actually writes the sentence, in a perfect world, the bottom 1% of artists would get 1% of activity. No, they wouldn't. That's a stupid world I don't want to live in. Who taught you this nonsense? And when you whine that streaming hasn't just upheld the gap between music's haves and have-nots, it's widened it, you're making my case for me. Because streaming allows the public to sample everybody. There's no more gatekeepers. You can't complain no one heard your song because no label would sign you. We tore that wall down. And the result was the same. Some musicians are have-nots because, yes, they may have a voice, but we have ears. It reminds me of the early audition rounds of the old American Idol where contestants are all attitude and image, as if to say, can we not focus so much on the talent and just skip the part to where the part I'm going to get to be an idol? 72% of Gen Z say they'd like to be an online celebrity, and 54% of Gen Z and millennials say they would become an influencer given the opportunity. You know, if it wasn't too much work, like making a sex tape. Speaking of which, Paris Hilton just made a return to the limelight, revealing that the ditzy party girl we knew back in the day was just her playing a character, and that there really was more to her than sex tapes, driving drunk, carrying around a little dog, and saying, "That's hot." I mean, what about her work on the Human Genome Project? You know what? Any jokes I did about Paris, I don't feel bad. Sorry, not sorry. I just can't. I can't be living in this time when we're madly on the hunt for anything with the slightest whiff of white privilege and then feel bad for Paris Hilton. Quite the reverse. Maybe Paris is the one who owes us an apology. For being patient zero for today's vapid, entitled, famous-for-nothing culture. She kind of birthed the world where every 15-year-old with a phone aspires to be an influencer. She's the face that launched the 1,000 Little Shits. Paris led directly to the Kardashians and then to housewives and teen moms and Heidis and Snookies and a generation of young girls who look up to the role models who managed to turn an unenthusiastic blowjob into an empire. Young people who think my talent is being me. And you wanting to live my life. Kylie Jenner is a billionaire based on her ability to sit near a pool. For the generations who are always on and on about this is my voice and I have something to say, an awful lot of that something is about lip gloss.